Not many other games can compare when it comes to defining a genre like Diablo has. As far as the RPG genre is concerned, the guardrails aren't so close. There's plenty of games that have shifted and changed the landscape of RPGs, but when looking back at how we got what we have today, you have to talk about Diablo and why it's so influential. So,
stay a while and listen.
From the depths of Hades, an evil arises to corrupt the living. It brings pain and death to all that it touches. It murdered your family and destroyed your village. Now you must enter into its lair on a dark mission of vengeance. Good luck.
So back in the 90s, the gaming industry was booming with the release of the PS1 in 1994, the Nintendo 64 in 1996, and the Sega Dreamcast in 1998. Games around this time were definitely getting more intricate and looking a lot better, and around this time we saw an increasing number of darker games being made. Though for RPGs, a lot of publishers wanted to play it safe, and the no-names copied what worked and what was selling, which meant a lot of the same types of games. However, we got a lot of influential classics that changed everything in gaming as well. We got games like Doom, Metal Gear Solid, Fallout, and Wolfenstein, all of which have added a darker and serious tone to gaming. So, killing demons, Nazis, and monsters had already been done already, but RPGs were all about the hero's journey and the character creator at the time, and didn't really differ from each other, meaning most were turn-based. This caused the genre to stagnate, but all that changed with the release of Diablo. It was the first of its kind. Being an action RPG, it was the only RPG to have real-time combat and not be positive at all. Like, this game was very, very dark. Diablo at the time was to RPGs what Marvel Rivals is to Overwatch now.
Third-degree burns over 90% of his body.
The formula is the same. Keep it simple. There was no complex character creator and the mechanics are very accessible. Nothing complex, just pick up and play and have fun. The game's core gameplay was like nothing that had been done before, and the art style, in my opinion, hasn't aged poorly by any means. I mean, literally look at this artwork. The game was developed by Blizzard North and was initially conceived by David Brevik. Brevik envisioned a dark, immersive RPG that combined the depth of traditional role-playing games with the immediacy and action of real-time combat. The game was originally intended to be turn-based, but after a pivotal meeting with Blizzard Entertainment's founders, Brevik and his team decided to switch to real-time combat. This change was instrumental in shaping the fast-paced, engaging gameplay that Diablo had become known for. Blizzard North also prioritized accessibility, as I had mentioned before, ensuring that the game could be picked up easily and played by both hardcore RPG fans and newcomers alike. This approach led to the creation of an intuitive interface and streamlined mechanics that minimize the need for complex tutorials or steep learning curves. The game's atmospheric art style and haunting soundtrack were crucial in establishing its dark, foreboding tone. I mean, there's not a better soundtrack than Tristram right here. The development team drew inspiration from classic horror and gothic literature, as well as contemporary dark fantasy works. The result was a game world that felt immersive, eerie, and richly detailed. Diablo's story, especially the first games, isn't hard to understand. But it's how the information is given to the player that makes it way more immersive and chilling to play through. The game starts in Tristram, a town that has imprisoned Diablo in the cathedral, causing a lot of problems, with people being influenced by demons and otherworldly creatures committing heinous crimes against the town people. Take Wirt, for instance. Hearing his dialogue on being rescued out of the dungeon and what the butcher did to him is absolutely haunting.
I know more than you think about that grisly fiend. His little friends got a hold of me and managed to get my leg before Griswold pulled me out of that hole. I'll put it bluntly. Kill him before he kills you and adds your corpse to his collection!
The cathedral was an important place for the people of Tristram because Diablo's essence had been buried deep within a soul stone, influencing the people above. For instance, take your first encounter with the butcher, for example. The atmosphere, the gritty, nasty environment, and the unpredictability, along with the dialogue from the butcher when you first encounter him.
Fresh meat.
Then you'll understand why these people are so terrified. When you first go into the cathedral, you're instantly met with skeletons, zombies, and demons, and this line.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
After you die from the butcher several times and make it back to Tristram with the butcher's cleaver in hand, you are met with another quest to go deeper into the dungeon. This time we gotta cleanse the town's water supply. After hearing how this has affected everyone in the town, listen to Pepin talk about this situation.
Please, you must hurry. Every hour that passes brings us closer to having no water to drink.
So back to the dungeon it is. After defeating the enemies in the dungeon, the water clears up. So we must relieve the Skeleton King, and knowing his importance to Tristram and the townspeople, this makes it way more impactful, especially since all the townspeople see the king as a hero and respect him very much. In the meantime, the enemies are now getting harder to kill, and the techniques to clear out rooms are getting more difficult. Nonetheless, we clear out the Chamber of Bone and the Halls of the Blind with much difficulty and move forward to kill Mage Czar the Mad in the catacombs. And if you choose to run a melee build, good luck to your soul, because this was extremely difficult as bro shoots fire and literally teleports. But after bringing Adria and Griswold a black mushroom in the Anvil of Fury, we venture further into the depths. That only reinforces my earlier point being about how this game is very, very dark. And the way this is done masterfully is through the dialogue and atmosphere. With that, we have to kill the Warlord of Blood. And it is at this time the game's enemies have quickly begun to grow stronger, and it's also at this point we only have 2 more levels, or 1, until we face Diablo and free Tristram from his terror. Not soon after freeing Lochdanan from his curse, we have to finally kill the man that Diablo influenced into shattering the Soulstone, Archbishop Lazarus, the man that has caused Tristram so much pain and suffering. We finally put an end to Lazarus and Diablo's control over him, leaving only Diablo left to deal with. Venturing down into the depths of hell in this game feels exactly how I would imagine it would be like. The complete overwhelm of enemies with the large spark in difficulty truly make it hellish. After a long and dangerous trek through hell, we finally encounter Diablo. A long, grueling battle later, and we finally defeat Diablo, marking an end to the suffering of Tristram and its people. But then after all that, we get this cutscene. The ending of Diablo is arguably the best ending in gaming. After watching the hero contain the Soul Stone and keep Diablo contained, we notice it's taking a much darker toll than anticipated, and the reveal of who Diablo possessed being Prince Albrecht, a child. You can't help but feel like it's just not getting any better. And this was probably the best outcome we could have hoped for. But you can't talk about Diablo's influence without mentioning the dungeon design and the loot. I've mentioned before that the combat of Diablo is something that we haven't seen before at the time, and another component we haven't seen before was the addictive nature of the combat loot system. Diablo has a procedural dungeon system, making each dungeon you go into completely random, and the quality of those dungeons isn't sacrificed. This makes it more than worthwhile to replay the game, and farming areas for loot way more lucrative. And yeah, plenty of games today definitely try to capture our attention as much as possible with microtransactions and season passes, but before all that we had simple grinding, and coupled with the procedural dungeons, you got gold. This game is an absolute classic, and like the original Fallout, I think everyone that enjoys RPGs and games alike should 100% play this game. It's simple and easy to sink hundreds of hours into. Understandably, it is old as balls, but it holds up nonetheless. Another significant aspect of Diablo's influence on gaming is the introduction of Battle.net, Blizzard's online gaming service. Launched alongside with Diablo in 1996, Battle.net revolutionized online multiplayer gaming by providing a platform for players to connect, communicate, and play together in a seamless and user-friendly environment. Before Battle.net, online gaming was often cumbersome, requiring players to navigate complex systems, complex setup processes, and deal with unreliable connections. Battle.net simplified this by integrating online capabilities directly into the game, allowing players to easily join or create games with minimal hassle. Battle.net's success with Diablo set a new standard for online gaming services and influenced the development of similar platforms in the future. Battle.net served as a blueprint for other online gaming platforms such as Steam, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network. These services adopted and expanded upon Battle.net's features, furthering the evolution of online gaming. I certainly wasn't old enough to remember this, unfortunately, but comment down below if you guys remember playing with friends on OG Battle.net. I'd love to hear you guys' stories and see who remembers it. The success of Battle.net and Diablo's online multiplayer mode contributed to the rise of online multiplayer games. Developers recognized the value of creating games with strong online components, leading to the proliferation of popular games like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Counter-Strike. Diablo's legacy is a testament to its influence, not only shaping the RPG genre, but also redefining how games approach storytelling, multiplayer interactions, and overall player engagement. Its impact on gaming culture is undeniable, making it a pivotal point of reference for both game developers and enthusiasts. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys found this video interesting, please give it a like. Consider subscribing for more content, more videos just like this. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.